Hello everyone, welcome back to Technically Unsure, where I'm not really sure what I'm doing technically.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
First of all, thank you very much for all the interest and comments and suggestions in the previous video regarding this Chinese X99 motherboard that we reviewed, right? If you haven't seen that, I think for this video you need to check that first. So please go check that out if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen that and you were one of the commenters who left suggestions and questions, this is the video for you. So I'm going to answer all those questions one by one. Hopefully I will try my best to not make this video long. So let's get started right away. Very quick note. I noticed two people said that the fan on the PSU is not working. It is working. The thing is, this is efficient. So it just turns the fan on when it's needed. So let's get that out. Number two. This time I didn't connect every single HDD, right? I did 4 NVMe and 2 20 terabyte Western Digital 3.5 full-size hard disk drives, okay? So we have 40 terabyte here, and we have 8 terabyte SSDs here. NVMe SSDs here, that's for the operating system. Once we talk about that, one of the most asked questions, and somehow I missed it in the previous day, I always do the test for power consumption. I don't even know how I managed to do that because probably I was busy with other stuff and forgot and got excited about this. But anyway, so here is the power consumption, all right? So you have it over there, all right, in the corner, okay? So right now it's idle and it's 2.8 watts. Obviously nothing is turned on, okay? So I noticed it's like 100 watts initially when it starts, it spikes up, the fan is ramping up and everything. But then when the truenas loads and everything settles down, it's around 60-70 watts. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, let me turn it on first, okay? So as you can see, it jumps up to 114 and so on, right? 126, 100, even 30, all right. So yeah, see, it's coming down, it's coming down. So for a second, there's a spike, everything is getting turned on and all that, and it goes up, still high, it's going to come down, okay? But yeah, this is, I believe, yeah, 750 watts, way overkill, okay? You don't need that at, okay? The beep is there. Let's go to BIOS because a couple of things that you guys asked me is all in the BIOS. So one of the things I just want to throw it out there, these are the ones that are shipped by the vendor when you have AliExpress, when you're buying it, it's there as an option, right? So I got what they shipped and we talked about it on the previous video, right? If I replace this with anything else, I have very similar ones to this, okay? Hold on. So this is literally, even these parts are identical to that one. The only difference is 32 gig. And by the way, I took these off of my server, okay? So these are okay. They were working on a real Proxmox server. Anyway, so that is working, but when I plug that in, I just want to throw it out there. When I try to boot into truenas, midway it starts acting up. Again, it could be my RAM, but I'm going to throw it out there. It does not work. When I go with my RAM, other RAMs that I have, doesn't work. And one of the comments that one of you guys left, and I really appreciate all the comments. So they said that, and I checked with the vendor as well, they are correct. So ECC only works when you use a registered memory or RDIMM, right? So I don't have in stock, but I will try to post an update, status update. I ordered a bunch, but none of them is like, you know, fast shipping. I guess nobody's buying registered DDR4 2400, you know, old RAMs. But anyway, I placed an order. It is going to come here in like 10 days. When it arrives, I will test and post a comment status, something in the comments in this video, okay? Keep that in mind. Another thing that multiple comments were talking about and asking was the PCIe bifurcation, which is very legitimate question, right? So in order to do that, I pulled up a bunch of these cards that I have. I removed the heatsink and everything, you know, from those. I have this, right? This is from one of the old computers that I bought. It came with it, Asus something, doesn't matter. And you can plug in multiple PCIe M.2 SSDs in here, right? For now, I went with 3. I didn't find one that exact same size. So for now, just let's see what happens. I just want to show you. So if you don't make a change, it's probably not going to work. The change is in here. You have to go to Intel RC setup and come down to IIO configuration. And in the IIO, you have to again go to IIO configuration right here, right? IOU2 and 0 and 1, right? You have to change this from auto to 4x4, not that one, this. So to 4x4x4x4, okay? But remember, you know, it depends on the speed of your NVMe SSD and how you're gonna do it. Maybe you wanna do 2 8x8 but have a different card. But this one, I'm gonna do 4. Okay? You have to enable that. If you go with auto, I don't think it will work. It will probably just show the first NVMe SSD. Right now in the BIOS, it's showing 98, but trust me, when you go into truenas, it drops. But I just have that in there, okay? So keep an eye on it. You guys were asking me a lot about the power consumption. So let's try this, okay? Let me turn it off. Let me plug this in. Also, I asked last time, I think we should not hot plug the PCIe like that. So if you guys think it is okay, let me know. I don't think it is, but yeah, anyway, let me turn it on. And 1, 2, 3, let's go. Oh, the lights came on this thing, okay? I mean, this is very simple board. It is not, I know it's from Asus, but it shouldn't really matter. If this didn't work, I have a bunch more, so don't worry about it. I will switch it with something else. I have a couple lined up over here. You don't see it on the camera, but if this didn't work, I will switch. All right, so we are back. Let's go to, let's say, from the hard disk priorities list. Let's see what we are going to see. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 are these 8 terabyte Samsung QVOs, okay? And then WDC, Western Digital, those are the two 20 terabyte. PNY is this one, 2 terabyte. And as you can see, it detected just the first one. It didn't detect the other two, okay? Just detected the first one. Now, let's go to where I said, right? Let's go here, go to IIO configuration. And in here, let's just change that to 4444. Honestly, I don't know which is which, so I'm gonna do it in both. All right, let's save and restart. Let's see what happens. You see the fan stops. And when we boot into the OS, the fan totally stops. All right, so now let's go back after that change. Let's go to hard disk priorities. There you go. Okay, you got your answer. So PCIe bifurcation like this works. You have to just make the change. And now it can detect the other 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 terabyte Samsung. I just wanted to show you that. Now we are done with that. Another question that I kept getting was that the Ethernet link aggregation and VRM temperatures, okay? So let's do the VRM very quickly. We are looking at some temperatures here, right? So one of the hottest point I see is the NVMe SSD, but also this heatsink on the motherboard, which is right, there's a chip underneath related to VRM stuff, right? So that is a little bit hot, okay, not too hot. As you can see, this one is like 53 Celsius, okay? So this chip is the hottest point on the board, 52, 53 Celsius. And they put a heatsink on it. I think this is doing fine and no problem whatsoever. So if I stand up and look around again, the other chip that I see that's a little bit hot, okay? So that one is 63 degrees right next to the CPU power cable. There's another chip underneath, so 70. Maybe we need to put also a heatsink over there, but yeah, that one is the hottest thing that I see in this motherboard. There is one more, 62, 68. So, no, that's not it. So yeah, here. Oh yeah, that one is toasty. So this here is very, very hot. So this one is PL2 and this one is BU2. I'm not really honestly sure what they are for, but these two gets toasty. So this is like 70, 72, and this is also 70, 70 something. Very hot, it gets very hot. Not sure if it can cause any issues, but I guess someone can tell me if needed. I guess we can put some heatsink on there, or when you're using it in a case. All right. So let me turn it on again. The other topic you guys were talking about was the link aggregation. Let me just very quickly show you in the network, in the interfaces. I have one, that's this one with no link aggregation. And then I have these two with the link aggregation that does have the yellow tape on it, okay? So this is the link aggregation and this is without link aggregation. So if I open up, okay, if we do a test on this particular one that does not have link aggregation, okay, look what happens. If I have two computers actually for this, okay, so there is this computer and the other computer that have 10 gigabit Ethernet connection. I'm going to log into truenas, okay, let's go to shell, and I'm going to do iperf3-s on port 5050-p, right? 5050 and, okay? So we started one, and let's start another one on 6060, okay? We started two iperf3 servers, okay? Now let's go back to my computer. I have one with 172.16.184 and 172.16.1.237. So this is the with link aggregation, which is these two. And this is a single one, which is this one. It does not have link aggregation. So if I do a test on the other computer that does have 10 gigabit Ethernet, okay, let's do it at the same time. Now, if I start a test on this particular Ethernet, right? Look, if I start it, I'm going to get 2.5, right? But if at the same time I started on the other computer, let me start. Now, if I start on the other computer, as you can see, the connection is fighting. These two are fighting. So this is dropped to 1.4 and that one dropped to 900, okay? So they are fighting and they're basically, and that one stopped. So if I do T0 to keep it going, as you can see, when they are running at the same time, there is going to be a fight and it's going to split the connection between the two, okay? But look what happens if I stop both of them. And instead of on this interface, if I do it on this aggregated interface, which is 237, look what happens. If I start the test on the aggregated link, and as you can see, now it's 2.5 because my computer that I'm recording from is 2.5, okay? But if I start it from the other computer as well on the 237, okay? Yeah, so on the 237, if I start it, look what happens. This one is 2, it's still 2, and that one is 2 as well. So overall, we are at 2.1, 2.2, something like that. So we are getting 4 point something gigabit on the aggregated link, which is expected. That's what we are getting, okay? So this is working as expected. And if I stop on the slower machine, look what happens on the faster machine. The connection Ethernet speed is 4.7. So link aggregation definitely works. Technically, you can aggregate like 6 of these and get even higher than 10 gigabit Ethernet speed. Technically, I haven't tried it, but I just wanted to show you that link aggregation works, okay? We are done with that. We are done with the temperature tests and the PCIe bifurcation, power consumption, as you can see on the screen when you're not using it. And when I was doing a speed test, you were seeing the speed, right? So it just goes up and down and changes based on that, right? So it is, I think, idle is 60 watt, and when you start using the CPU and doing hard disk drive stuff or start Docker, let's say, it will go up to 100, 110 watts. I don't think it will go much higher. Initially, at the beginning, it goes actually, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Another thing that you guys asked was the IPMI. Unfortunately, this motherboard does not have IPMI. The only thing it does have is the serial port. You can probably use a serial port to Ethernet, one of those devices. Like there is one from Net Tools. I think I have one lying around that should also work. I haven't tried it, but you can do something like that. But yeah, it does not have IPMI. And IPMI is not really comparable to serial port. I'm just saying that's the thing. It's there, close to that. The other thing that you guys were asking about was the BIOS and BIOS protection. We talked about memory. I will try to dump the memory and share the BIOS dump file. I don't think there is a clean BIOS made for this. There are some experts who are BIOS engineer, like they develop BIOS code for all these motherboards. I don't think there is one released for this particular motherboard. I don't know if you guys know, if you have any clean BIOS, let me know. I really don't mind flashing one into this. I don't care. I will take a backup of existing one and put it back, but yeah, let me know. So we talked about all these stuff. Let me go back to BIOS and I want to show you a couple more things. Okay, so we are back at BIOS. A couple of things that I want to show you here in the BIOS. And if we go to Trusted Computing, again, you have to have your own TPM module. This does not come with it. Honestly, I don't know which one is compatible with it, but if anyone knows, please share in the comments so everyone else would also benefit. The other one is here, hardware monitor. Someone in the previous video also said these are not real, like 20 degree difference, and it's under-reporting it. I'm not sure, but there was also a comment asking about smart fan. So there is smart fan mode. As you can see, it is there. So it's very, very, very quiet right now. But I guess initially when you power it on, when it ramps up the fan, then you hear audible noise. But yeah, RPM is dependent. There's CPU smart mode in this enabled, so you can basically make changes to the speed of the fan, and it does have the smart fan. Okay, that's one of the questions again. Serial port redirection. So this one, a console, as I said, that's the console port, right? But that is, I haven't enabled that, but I guess console direction settings. Yeah, there is COM0, and there is also some debug ports over here. There's audio, USB, and COM-CON. So there's also a COM connection in here, this big one, but I'm not sure. I don't have anything for that. I'm not familiar, I'm gonna be honest. There's another one, COM2 over here. So I'm not familiar. If you guys know, let me know, but there's COM2, COM, and there is that serial port over there. So yeah, that's just there. I don't have the cables for this, so I'm gonna skip for now. Oh, by the way, above 4G decoding and GPU, someone asked, can I install a GPU? Yeah, absolutely, of course. This is no different than any other motherboard. You can just put a PCIe GPU, obviously not something super powerful. This doesn't have that much speed, but you can absolutely put some GPU on this and use it in like Plex and do transcoding and things of that sort. There is also above 4G decoding stuff in here, at least as an option. Not sure. So PCIe Express settings. Anything special in here? Not really. And to speed settings. Okay, so this is PCI Express Gen 2. I thought this is Gen 3, but it's Gen 2. And also it's X16, remember that. So when you're buying a GPU, keep that in mind. That's the limit. Network stack configuration, CSM, those are regular NVMe. That's the NVMe. Not much going on in there. USB config. All right, so that's that part. So in here, processor config, you can remember you have to enable the hyper-threading and VMX and these stuff for the like virtualization stuff and running probably the Proxmox, but otherwise. There is all the stuff in here, SMX, VMX. Okay, so execution bit, hyper threading, and I'm looking for anything that I haven't seen in any other motherboard. There's AES-NI support on this as well. Motherboard and your CPU obviously should have. So with that, if you use like pfSense or let's say OpenVPN on pfSense, you can use the AES-NI to have faster encryption for encryption, decryption, just something that you might need. Okay, so anything else in here? Energy efficient, so you can change that in here. CPU C states. So yeah, if I think someone was asking, how about the C states? So if you go with the custom mode instead of energy efficient mode, so you can come over here and make the changes to the C state limit, and basically you have control. This is kind of also standard in the BIOS, that usually with the server BIOS and stuff. But yeah, you will be able to make changes in here and enable, disable these settings for C state. So I remember, if I'm not wrong, I remember someone was mentioning C state, had a C state question in one of the comments. So yeah, if you go with custom in the power technology, so how I got here? So yeah, Intel RC setup, advanced power management configuration, and power technology, you go with custom. That enables the configuration for TDP, P state, and C state, and T state, okay? So you have control over these things and can enable turbo mode and which cores, max performance, efficient or performance. You can play around all this stuff. I'm not gonna even pretend that I know much about this. So if you guys are into it, apparently you guys are, some of them, you were curious about C state. It is there, so you can make changes in here for all these stuff, okay? Yeah, I just wanted to show you, that was another comment. So QPI, memory config. So yeah, and as I said, one of you guys again, and the support, and I saw in another Reddit post, somebody else was talking about it. If you use, the vendor is claiming, by the way, the vendor is BKHD. So in the previous video, I read that whole thing and I didn't notice, but BKHD is the vendor. So they are saying, if you use a registered memory or RDIMM memory, it supports ECC. But as is, with the RAM that they shipped, it did not work, and ECC did not work. So, and also this is, as I said, this is the RAM I have, and these are ECC compatible, does have ECC, but it did not work on this. So just keep that in mind. And I did a memory test with memtest86, still it did not show ECC. So currently, as is, as you buy it from them, no ECC, okay? So yeah, IIO stuff, we went through it for bifurcation and stuff. PCH, yeah, nothing special here. Lockdown, GPIO, maybe, I don't know, is it this one or the debug one? All right, Azalea, platform thermal, okay. Overclocking, if we enable it, there is some more stuff in here that you can make changes to. So yeah, this is for experts who do overclocking on these CPUs. Again, I'm not gonna even pretend I understand or know these things. So if you are into it, I'm just telling you this motherboard have these things. So you can go ahead and make these OC ratio changes for all cores. This should be kind of standard like the other ones. This one is simple OC ratio one. But yeah, there are other voltage stuff, and I'm not gonna touch that. I'm good. So yeah, and let's keep going. Oh, by the way, another question that I just remembered was about the server ME config. So this is the ME, and someone was saying, maybe there is like a backdoor in that ME. There's Chinese ME, the rootkit. I don't think it's that easy to figure it out. You can't really find. There is integrity stuff, and I will try to boot into Ubuntu and to check more. But yeah, that's what it is. Okay. I don't think there is a protection on the BIOS. You should be able to overwrite this with and flash it with your own BIOS. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I answered all your questions. I'm really sorry again if I missed any. I don't think this video is a good fit for. I was going to install Proxmox and install pfSense and truenas as guest OS in those and do pass-through on this, but I don't think this video. I just wanted to answer your questions, show you the power consumption and bifurcation, link aggregation, and VRM temps and C states and GPU stuff, right? Okay, so just pretty much whatever you guys asked, I tried to answer it hopefully in this video. Let me just boot into Ubuntu and see if there's anything more in there. I will be right back. So we are back and I have some more information for you. So let me show you a couple of things. So first of all, I just installed the Intel ME utility and ME cleaner thing from this repo. Nothing special, I just followed the guide, okay? So when you run the Intel ME tool in here, this is the output basically. So you will be able to see, by the way, this is not a full Ubuntu, this is the boot from USB. I don't want to touch the truenas for now. So I ran the Intel ME tool basically, and here you will see that ME is enabled and partition table and everything is in here, okay? So someone was saying clean BIOS and I don't want the Intel ME, there is the backdoor rootkit. I'm going to show you a couple of things. Again, don't rely on what I'm gonna do in order to ensure that this is super safe, there is nothing going on in here. No. So, but let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go to the other tab, like this one, okay, the ME cleaner folder, okay, so if I go here and do flash rom -p internal and -r to read and dump.bin, and it is going to start dumping my BIOS, okay? Flash ROM is dumping the BIOS and it's going to read everything from the BIOS page, okay? So give it a couple seconds and yeah, there you go, okay? If you wanna just take a look at it, you can do with, I'm doing with Bless, doesn't matter, you can use with anything you want, but this is the BIOS dump file that I just dumped. So if we go, if we go here, you will see that this is the BIOS file. Like if I search, I guess AMI maybe, the string, I just want to say text and search. Yeah, so, all right. So this is the BIOS and Intel stuff is in there. And if I search AM BIOS, something like that, I don't remember what was the string. So BIOS date, oh yeah. You remember these strings, these texts, do you remember this in the video? In the very beginning of the video, I showed you the BIOS version, yeah, okay? So we dumped the correct BIOS, okay? Now we got the BIOS, there is a one long command. I'm not even gonna type that, but yeah, here, where is it? Here, okay? So if you copy this, the whole thing, just the last part is the original dump. I'm not gonna copy that, paste in here, and I'm gonna say dump.bin. And, oh, I missed the letter. There you go, okay? So this one shrinks. So as you can see, this one shrinks the BIOS. It explains it here, neutralize and shrink Intel ME. So it will give you extra ROM space and everything, right? It shrinked ME and shrink BIOS, and it will give you out.bin. So if we do ls-lah, you will see the one that originally that I dumped is going to be out. No. The one I dumped was dump.bin. Where is it? Yeah, here you go. So this is dump.bin, and out.bin is the clean BIOS, ME shrinked BIOS, okay? So, should I? Okay. So yeah, it makes the changes and gives you, give you the file. So now, if you want, you can just flash that out.bin BIOS. As you can see it here, out.bin fully flashable image into BIOS. Not sure if I want to do it right now, but it's an option. Just keep that in mind. So if you want to go that route, you can do that and flash the Intel ME cleaned version to BIOS. You know what? I really don't care about this motherboard. You know, let me give it a shot. Let me give it a shot and see what happens. Give me a couple seconds. Okay, let me copy the dump files to my USB drive, which is not that one. Let me grab, yeah, this one. Let me plug this in. Okay, and let me open this folder in the Explorer and /. All right, Okay, now I mounted that USB, so I am going to now copy these files, dump.bin, shrink, me shrink, and out.bin to my, okay. All right, so I got my files, dump, and also let's let that, all right, now I got copied, dump.bin and all these files. Okay, all right, I guess I took a backup. Worst case scenario, I will flash it with an external clip. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm doing it. Let's give it a shot. Okay, as you saw in the screen recording, I just ran this command, flash rom-p internal w-write out.bin, and the out.bin is the output of that ME cleaner. So I made sure I make copies of the BIOS dump, and then I overrode it. So now only one thing is remaining to do. And before I go, in case we don't come back, another question I remember was doing the sysbench and checking the CPU, like when you cap it, what happens, and also why disks are connected. I'm not using disk, but I'm just gonna do a sysbench real quick, and then I'm gonna leave. Okay, threads. So this is how many cores, how many threads? I forgot. 24. Okay, so we are going to do 24 threads and CPU and run. Okay. So we are doing 147, 148, okay? 147, 148, 4 to 6, 7 disk drives, not really used, connected, but yeah, okay? So when you use full power, it goes up to 141. I answered that, and I think I answered every single questions you guys had. I really hope so. And now I am going to reboot and see if we were able to clear the Intel ME. Remember in here, keep this screen in mind, and I will use this in video. If computer boots again, we are going to come back in here and see if we did anything, all right? So, fingers crossed, let's go. I did a reboot. Oh, I just heard the beep. It took forever, but I just heard the beep. Oh, there you go. Oh my God. I think I did it.
Did you see that, Mom? I did the thing! I did the thing, Mom! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Oh my God. It's entering the setup. It took very long time, by the way. And I think it was like because it lost all the data and every settings and whatever, right? I think, I don't know. We dumped the, I guess. But it's still stuck in the booting, entering setup phase, but it took long time. I really thought this is gone. I have to do that, you know, flash directly and all that stuff. And still not loaded. Let's not celebrate early. I don't see anything, but let's see. Oh my God, we booted. It actually logged in. Oh, I really didn't think it is going to work. Okay. I already see system settings items in this screen. Incorrect values may cause system to malfunction. Server ME configuration, I still see it here. NA, oh my God. I think we did it. Oh, it's in the recovery image failure, but that's what it's supposed to be. So ME state disabled, I guess. So yeah, I mean, system is working. That's it. Okay, I got what I wanted. That's all I wanted. Okay, all right. So I showed you guys again. Do it on on your own risk. So I was panicking. I really don't care, but I just yeah, I thought I ruined this. Anyway, worst case scenario. I think you have seen my other video, the UART video. So you need that SOIC clip on that BIOS chip and repair it yourself. But yeah, anyway, this video is getting very out of hand and taking a very long time. Okay, right before I leave, I just wanted to clear all the doubt and show you. So I just again booted into the Ubuntu from the USB. Okay, I didn't install the Ubuntu. That's what you're seeing on the screen. And let's see what happens when you run Intel ME tool. Yeah, you see what happens? That's what happens. Okay, so if you want to redo what I did, right? I just did a flash ROM and read the internal CPU BIOS memory ROM, and then I used ME cleaner to clean it, and it gave me out.bin, whatever, copy paste. I didn't do any of that. And then I flashed it back with the same flash ROM. I didn't use clip or anything, no SOIC clip. So as is, as you can see, we cleared the Intel ME. So hopefully this also clears those, backdoor stuff, okay? So everything looks fine, and I really hope that I answered all your questions, okay? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.